Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the preview for the 2024 Belgian Grand Prix, the final race of the latest doubleheader and the last race before F1 takes its annual summer break. If you've been listening closely enough to the channel for the last 7 years, it'll come as a little surprise to hear this is one of my favourite races and tracks of the season. Watching these cars around Spa, even on TV, is spectacular, and more often than not, we do tend to see quite a bit of action across the weekend. That's not to say it's a guaranteed classic, of course it isn't, but it has thrown up some very memorable moments over the years. I cannot wait for this, I really can't. So on that note, let's crack on with the preview, starting as ever with a look at the circuit. So last weekend, F1 was in Budapest for the Hungarian Grand Prix, where Oscar Piastri picked up his first Formula 1 win with zero controversy and no drama whatsoever, honest. But now it is on to Belgium for the 14th race of the 2024 season. A lap of the simply lovely Spa-Francorchamps circuit is the longest of the year at 7.004 kilometres. That is just over 4.35 miles if you prefer, and is made up of 19 corners with 44 laps scheduled for Sunday's race. And the race lap record is held by Valtteri Bottas, who posted a 1:46.286 back in 2018. We've got two DRS zones in action for this one, with the first running down the long Kemmel Straight between turns 4 and 5. That's Radion and Leclerc if you'd rather use the names of the corners. And the final zone is down the start-finish straight, and both zones, by the way, have their own detection points. When it comes to overtaking, obviously those DRS zones will come in handy, and it is highly likely most action will take place down the Kemmel Straight and into Leclerc. However, it is also possible to pass elsewhere with the bus stop. Is it still called the bus stop? Anyway, the final chicane is also a very popular spot for drivers to try and get a move done, and the first corner, that's La Source, is another possible overtaking place. There has also been one big change to the circuit for this year, and that is that it has been resurfaced in a number of places, including from turn 17 to turn 2, turn 4 to turn 8, and from turn 14 to turn 15, and that's according to the official circuit website. Last year, Max Verstappen won the race by more than 22 seconds, despite having started 6th on the grid. And on that, it should be noted he did set the fastest time in qualifying, but Charles Leclerc was credited officially with pole position due to Verstappen's gearbox penalty. Sergio Perez was P2 on Sunday, completing a Red Bull 1-2, with Leclerc finishing P3 for Ferrari. And George Russell's win in Austria, Lewis Hamilton's Silverstone victory, and Oscar Piastri's win in Hungary meant that for the first time since 2021, we had 3 races in a row where Max Verstappen didn't pick up a single victory. However, the Dutchman has won the last 3 races at Spa, so that could all change if he keeps that up on Sunday. 3 race wins at a row in Spa, 3 races without a Verstappen win. Wow, that's a nice couple of 3s there. And as you know, as well as being Daniel Ricciardo's race number and apparently the magic number, 3 is also the number of dry tyre compounds available across a race weekend. Oh yes, that is right. For the final time until pretty much the end of August, how will you cope? It is tyre talk time once again. The compounds available for this one then are right down the middle of the Pirelli range, and so they are the hard C2, the medium C3 and the soft C4. This is a circuit that puts the tyres through a lot of stress. In fact, it has one of the highest average levels of tyre stress across the whole season. And that is thanks in part to corners like the Eau Rouge and Radion complex, if you like, with that specific pairing of corners, according to Pirelli, causing strong compression. Tyre degradation will be something to keep an eye on as ever this weekend, and the tyres do tend to suffer more with thermal deg around Spa, but Pirelli does make the point that given the extra grip it will provide, the new track surface could change that and be a decisive factor when it comes to degradation. The manufacturer also says that based on its assessment of the new surface a month ago, it is, quote, highly likely the new surface will lead to a significant reduction in lap times. And of course, this isn't the same thing, but GT3 cars were lapping 3 seconds a lap quicker during the 24 hours of Spa. But anyway, last year's winning strategy was a 2-stopper, with Max Verstappen starting on the soft tyre, changing to the mediums on lap 14, and then back to a set of the soft tyres on lap 30, which he ran to the end of the race. The majority of the field pitted twice last year, with some making 3 stops, but only 3 drivers, George Russell, Lance Stroll and Pierre Gasly, managed to make a 1-stop strategy work. I think we're expecting a multi-stop race again this year. Worth pointing out as well that all but 1 driver only ran a mix of softs and mediums in 2023, with Lando Norris trying the hards for 12 laps between a short, medium and long soft stint. Last year's total pit lane lost time was largely between 22 and 24 seconds. The safety car loves to make an appearance at Spa, with every race since 2016 featuring at least 1 full safety car period apart from last season, which was actually the first time since 2014 we didn't get either a full or virtual safety car appearance. It must also be said, though, that 2021 probably doesn't count either because there wasn't actually a race, just a few processional laps behind the safety car due to the rain. And on the subject of rain, nice segue, the weather forecast for the weekend looks mixed at time of recording, and as is now always the case, the latest forecast as of Thursday morning is on screen for you now to have a look at, but remember that could all change between now and the weekend. And your schedule for this one is, unsurprisingly, exactly the same as it was last time out. So FP1 gets the weekend underway on Friday afternoon at 12:30pm BST, and FP2 is later that same afternoon at 4pm. Saturday's action starts with FP3, and that is at 11:30am with qualifying underway from 3pm. And of course, it is lights out for the race on Sunday at 2pm, and once again, that is in UK time. Now, before I move on to making my predictions, let's have a quick run through some of the news stories and talking points that have been doing the rounds ahead of this weekend's race at Spa. So first up, the FIA has announced that the Formula 1 point system will not change for 2025 after teams unanimously voted against the proposal during the FIA F1 Commission meeting on Tuesday. Towards the start of this season, there was an obvious split between the top 5 teams and the bottom 5 teams, which led to concerns that those further down the grid could struggle to secure points if the fastest 5 at the time, that's Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes and Aston Martin, had both drivers reaching the checkered flag every race. Some teams argue the case that extending points down to positions 12 and 14 and maybe even all the way to the final finisher would give teams further down the order more to fight for. That was, though, rejected as already mentioned, and so the points will still continue to be awarded to 10th place next season. It is fair to say, though, that since the proposal was made, the field is much closer, and as of now, Sauber are the only team yet to score in 2024, so maybe it's right the points don't change for now. In the same meeting, it was also agreed that in the interest of driver well-being, the minimum weight allocation for the drivers will be increased from 80 kg to 82 kg, meaning the minimum car weight will also increase by 2 to 800 kg for 2025. And I'll put a link to the full summary of the meeting in the video description if you'd like to read a little bit more. Elsewhere, Mattia Binotto is back. Yes, you heard that right. It was confirmed earlier this week that the former Ferrari team principal will head up Audi's F1 project as the manufacturer shakes up its management positions. It was also confirmed the reshuffle includes the exit of Andreas Seidel and Oliver Hoffmann from Audi. Binotto, who has not worked in F1 since his Ferrari exit at the end of 2022, will join the team as its Chief Operating and Chief Technical Officer from August 1st and will be responsible for heading up the project ahead of Audi's entry in 2026. It is also worth a quick mention that according to AMUS, Mike Crack, leave it, could also be set to join Binotto at the team. Nothing official at time of recording though. And Alpine has revealed a special one-off livery for this weekend's race at Spa. The look is inspired by the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, and the team will also rebrand both driver helmets as well as the suits worn by them and the Alpine mechanics. And do you know what? That is how you do a special one-off livery. It looks great. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. Then again, it is just nice to see some paint on that car, quite frankly. And just quickly, on the topic of Alpine, motorsport.com reports the team is closing in on a deal with Mercedes for a technical partnership that will include engine, gearbox and suspension, similar to the agreement Aston Martin has with that manufacturer. The site also reports the deal could start as early as 2025. Yes, 2025. This is definitely one of those watch these space things. Right then, shall we make some predictions? I think that's a flipping good idea. As always, please do not take these too seriously, just a little bit of fun. But if you do disagree with my picks, then you can let me know yours in the comment section down below. And last week it all went rather well, at least based on how things tend to go for me. I was right on Norris for pole and his P2 finish, as well as Hamilton finishing third, plus points for correctly predicting Russell would take the fastest lap and that 19 cars would finish the race. Not bad at all. This time, I'm going pretty much all in on McLaren. It is clear that over recent races, they have risen to become arguably the fastest on the grid. And so given how well things are going for the team at the moment, they probably come into this weekend as the favourites. I would be surprised, though, if Red Bull, specifically Max Verstappen, isn't closer this time around compared to Hungary. And because it is expected to be cooler in Belgium, that could play into the hands of Mercedes. I mean, it's Spa. It's always a threat, so the weather could always play its part and mix things up a bit anyway. The point I'm making is that there's a chance McLaren's advantage may be smaller this weekend than it was last Sunday. It is also worth a mention that although nothing has been officially confirmed at time of recording, Verstappen is expected to take an engine penalty, so a 10-place grid drop at some stage in the coming races, and Spa tends to be a favoured spot given that it is a place that you can overtake. We'll find out soon enough on that front. Maybe given the frustrations of Hungary and the precarious position Sergio Perez is in, the team may choose to wait and prioritise banking as many points as possible on Sunday. We'll see in the next few days. Anyway, stop waffling, Sean. I'm going with Lando Norris for pole position on Saturday and a win on Sunday. I'll say Oscar Piastri completes another McLaren 1-2 by obviously taking second place. And Max Verstappen finishes the race in third place. And I will go as far as to say that he will take that penalty for this one and still finishes top 3 despite that. I mean, look, he may still win. He's done it before from way back on the grid at Spa, so you never know. My best of the rest, so 4th best finishing team on Sunday is once again Ferrari, just because I think McLaren, Red Bull and Mercedes have the edge right now. Of course, though, I'm hoping the Scuderia spring a big surprise 1-2 for me on Sunday. My one to watch is Sergio Perez, quite simply because he needs a strong performance at Spa, so it'll be interesting to keep an eye on him throughout the weekend. A big weekend and couple of weeks coming up for Checo, to be fair. And my bolder picks, which, as I said last week, are totally separate to the main ones, are a top 10 finish for Alex Albon on Sunday, so a point or 2 for him there. I think Williams could be strong this weekend. I'll pick Valtteri Bottas to just sneak into Q3 on Saturday by the finest of margins. By the way, worth keeping an eye on Haas, because this track might actually play to their strengths. And my final bold prediction is that Max Verstappen will be tucked up in bed with a glass of milk and a CBeebies bedtime story by 7:30 p.m. on Saturday night. That is, by the way, tongue-in-cheek, just in case it wasn't obvious. That is it then for the Belgian Grand Prix preview, but don't forget you can let me know your thoughts and your predictions ahead of the weekend in the comments section down below. Now, I will be back on Saturday at around 2:30 p.m. BST with the qualifying watch-along, and I will again be live shortly after the race on Sunday for some race reaction. In the meantime, though, if you did enjoy this one, then please do leave a like, as it really does help the channel out, and consider subscribing so you don't miss any future videos or streams. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.